Hello and welcome into episode 16 of SorareData Office Hours. I'm Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare, joined as usual by Maxime Hagenbourger, maximehg on Sorare. Thank you to everybody for joining. Scosmo was in an hour early, which was just great. And Chris Holt said, just here for the intro music. I think this show might be my favorite intro music. It was Mel, commented that she really liked all of the different intro musics. And I think this one, I don't know, just gets me going. I feel bad for the other shows because they don't get such a catchy beat. But anyway, Maxime, we took last week off. How are you?
Yeah, we did. I'm feeling pretty good actually. Yeah, took some time off. And that was well needed because my work rhythm since I'm back is pretty good. So that's good.
I'm always a proponent of taking yourself out of your like regular routine every so often, because when you get back in, you realize either what was helping or what was hurting you, and you just kind of like focus on the good things. Is that a Boston Red Sox cup? Oh, is that from Fenway?
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, no, 1 year ago. 1 year ago. But
Yeah,
yeah,
last.
about that routine stuff. No, I know what's wrong with me. It's sleep deprivation and bad eating habits. So I know what's wrong, but you know, I don't change. So
As long as you can change the other things as your routine, I think you're probably fine.
no, but I discovered that, like, when you eat bad, like, your body needs stuff that you don't get from eating. So getting supplements right now, it's helping. It's helping.
This is not even remotely close to Sorare related, so sorry for everyone who is tuning in for that kind of stuff. Well, we're going into the diet hours apparently, but I had a mental change a few years ago where I started to think about what I ate, not because I was like I wanted to be healthier, but it was just like what foods make me feel better.
Yeah.
Or like when I work out, what foods like help me recover or let me work out better. And it totally changed the way I think. And it's not to say that I don't eat things that like people think you like shouldn't eat. I eat plenty of ice cream and pizza and all the good stuff, but I don't know. You just
No,
once you get it in your head, you're okay.
yeah, I know I would die. Like 6 months in the US, I would die. That's a certainty. I mean, either I would be dead or I would like get like probably 100 pounds or something like that. So yeah, I like France. I like the fact that we have vegetables and like we do have healthy fast food. That's something that we do, and yeah, I know. I mean, I've just seen like 2 weeks in the US. I was like, no, not going to happen. and my body was not good after 2 weeks in the US. So 6 months, I don't know.
The culinary choices that were made during that trip, I don't think are actually, to be honest, they're probably fully indicative of what most people eat in the US, but there are
Yeah.
plenty of people who do not eat like that. And so we should have taken pictures or something like that to show everybody exactly what happened on that trip. Although maybe it's for the better that there are no pictures. Anyway, Maxime, I was looking back at the video that you and I did when the SorareData mobile app was first launched. And I have to say, it has come a long way, the app. There's some stuff, foundational stuff that's still there, like tracking your scores and everything. But it is pretty wild to see like where it has come since then. Is this where you think it was going to be when we started? Because we know that we've talked about this a lot, that mobile development is generally more complicated than doing stuff for web. And so how do you think we are doing so far?
Yeah, we're not remotely close to what I want us to be, but no, I mean, I was pretty afraid of like uh, the latest release because it was kind of a mess internally. To be frankly, pretty honest, I think that it's good to say when things go well, but it's also good to say when things go a bit differently. and I'm like, I was very like when we do stuff that is related to screens that people see like every day, and I mean every day, it's like sometime every minute or every hour, I'm like very afraid of what could go wrong and what we're doing. And so I can say that the first version that we did internally, I destroyed it. I destroyed it. It was not well, it was ugly.
It wasn't ready.
No, it wasn't ready. But I was pretty afraid with this release, but I think like we didn't do changes on like Sorare results for like the past, I don't know, year or something. And so like the additions that we made are pretty useful, like just checking the number of minutes in a game easily under your player score is something, and just the game score is something that is pretty helpful. Obviously, like the new design for the reward card, etc. But overall, like changing a bit the way we display stuff is good. But yeah, it's a small screen. You have to fit a lot of data there that you think is helpful. You have to think of a lot of stuff. And obviously, when you release stuff on mobile, the process is a bit different from web. When we release stuff on web, it's just me like pushing a button. Obviously, not the same thing with Apple and Google. So yeah, it was like yeah, it's always nice to add stuff, but it's a different process and obviously a bit slower than web. Um, but yeah, pretty happy with that. But we are still a long way to go.
I think that's one of the things that comes out on this show, that we can kind of speak more about SorareData and not actually Sorare and what they're doing, but like kind of how we work. And the mobile app is one of those things that is proof of why we need to play the game, because we want to be able to test everything that we build and think, instead of thinking like, how do I think somebody would use this? And instead it's, this is how I want to use it. And if we're looking to do something, whether it's checking scores or looking at the market or whatever it is, it's just so important for us to use it every possible way that somebody would use it. And the different people who work at SorareData have different gallery sizes and enter different contests and are searching for different players. And so it feels like hopefully we get to all of the parts where it's like, well, this type of user is looking for this, and this type of user is looking for this. And admittedly, this update took a little longer than we hoped. And I think part of it was just that for those of you who use the app, we really test it. And it's not even so much like, does this work? But it's the, should this box be as big as it is? Or what else can we put here so that it's easier for people to look at it? And I have to say that that's one of the design aspects, and I've said it so many times, but just that I never really appreciated before SorareData, that so much of the design is not about does it look good, and more is this presented in a way that people actually want to look at it, and is it helpful, and is it easy to understand? And it's those things I think that actually we focus on more, and less the, do you like blue or do you like green? And it's more, I think this box is a little too big, or should we have this in caps, in all caps, or do we show tier 0 or the word star? And I know that like everybody wants more in the app. We want more in the app, but it is things like that that just takes time, and it takes using it until you may think that something is exactly like in your mind. You're like, this is what I want to look at. And then you use it and you're like, actually this, I don't need this here, but I would like to see, do you want to see your points to your next reward on this modal, or do you want to see it right under your line, and all that stuff? And it just takes a while. And Mike Baston here was saying, do you think there will ever be a time that you're happy with the app, even if there's still more things to add, or are you just too much of a perfectionist? And The only negative is that the more we add to web, the more we're going to want to add to mobile. And I don't think we're ever going to get to a finished app. And that's not a bad thing, but I'm not sure we ever get there.
No, but it's a matter of like resources and like time, and yeah, it comes down to resources, right? I mean, we don't have unlimited money, so we don't have unlimited people, and even with unlimited people, you don't necessarily go like as fast as you would want to. But yeah, I mean, my role also is to have a vision for what we want to do. So I'm always looking at what we want to do and what we should do. And so that's why I probably will never be as happy as I would want to be regarding the web app, regarding the mobile app, regarding everything, well, pretty much everything that we do. So, I mean, what do you guys think about making the site work well on mobile? I think that's also one of the solution. And I always like considered the fact that since we had a mobile app, I shouldn't care too much about the responsiveness on mobile. But it's obviously like it's so frustrating to see how many people actually use the website on mobile. But you have to also consider the fact that if you release like the mobile the lineup builder, for example, on the web app, and you design it for every like screen, it's such a pain to actually conceive, develop, test, and it's like it's taking too much time for a team of 3 people like doing the back end and the front end. And so that's why we're hiring more people, and that's why I think like the new guys that will be taking taking care of the website will do more in that aspect, and will do more in terms of like responsiveness and stuff like that. But we always try to do something that's is at least like accessible from either the mobile app or the web app, or like on the mobile app or the mobile website.
Yep.
But yeah, definitely some improvements there. But like again, it's like we're 3 people developing a web app right now, and we have to take care of basically everything. So that's we're going to go from like 3 developers to 8 in like maybe by the end of the summer. So it's going to be a challenge internally, but it's also going to be to enable us to actually like do more stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the, not that people don't know it, because everybody knows that we're not a huge company. And like you said, we don't have unlimited funds and unlimited people. And Audrey brought up a question: is there a reason why we can't click on the club name to bring us to the club profile on mobile? And the answer is kind of like, we worked on other things. Like we have to prioritize what we add to the mobile app. I mean, we have to prioritize the same on the web app, but like if if we only have a certain number of people, we can't just say, let's do everything that's on the web app on mobile by next week. Like, it's just not, you need different designs because screens are different sizes. You need to then be able to develop everything that's in there. You have to test it. And so, yes, we would love to have that at some point. I mean, we have your own club on the app, so you can look at that. We actually have stuff on the mobile app that's not on the web, like the Hall of Fame, and your highest scores are easy to find. And we have other priorities at this point.
Well, that's your answer, but my answer would be the person saying that is totally right, and it's so frustrating to me because I think it's not that complicated to do, and so I'm a bit annoyed by that also. But
it's okay for you to say that it's not that hard. I can never say something.
No,
is not that hard,
I don't think it's that complicated, to be honest, and that's something we planned. But it's like, again, it's just a matter of like organizing stuff internally. Like we don't have like, again, like we don't have like 5 product managers like being dedicated to a single feature, for example. Clément on the football side, I think, is doing a lot of stuff. At the same time, he has like a lot of stuff on his plate. So like figuring out that we are missing that link is not something that is easy, but it's based on user feedback. And for example, like we just structured a way to actually receive feedback and just like organize it like last week, and same thing for bugs, like it was pretty messy before that. So it's just like a matter of finding the right organization, especially when we're going to integrate like 5 more people in the tech team. It's not going to be like 2 times faster. Obviously it doesn't work like that, like human resources and development doesn't work like that, but it's going to like improve the quality and probably a bit of quantity of like stuff that we release. But yeah, I mean, so much for what we want to do and what we're actually able to do.
Sure. And I'll name drop easily. When I was talking to Nicola last week at the Yankee game, I was saying how everyone seems to be really happy about all of the new things that Sorare come out with, whether it's your online status or how long you reply or the grouping the cards that are on the mark, whatever it is. It seems like they're coming out with a lot of things now. And what everybody's kind of ignoring is that that's what happens when you hire a lot of people and you give them time to start working on things. And when they did that last fundraising round and they were talking about they hired so many more people and then nothing really happened. And everybody's like, you just hired all these people. Why aren't there new things coming out? And the answer is they just take time. Like when you start a new job, you don't like automatically just start producing a ton of stuff right away. And now it seems like we're starting to kind of appreciate and get all of the things that we thought were coming, that we unrealistically thought were coming 6 months ago. And now we're going to do the same.
I can agree, but it's a matter of like also finding the right organization, and the problem with Sorare was like, how do you go from like 20 people to 150 and still manage to deliver stuff in
the
proper way?
Increase for sure.
Yeah, and it seems easy from like someone else's perspective, but it's not. And so yeah, I think that they went through so many things in just like a year or so, and there's still a lot of work to do for them. But yeah, it's nice to see improvements made. But yeah, I'm only looking at one thing right now is gameplay, because you can do so much about like improving your product. Like we could like adding an online status, and they're doing stuff to actually like facilitate market exchanges, right? But like to me, it's like it's one feature away from a chat, right? It's the last thing that we need. Like it's the first thing that we need, but it seems like, oh, you do the online status, well, the next thing is probably a chat, and so I think like I'm always looking forward to the next feature that they are going to be releasing, and I think like the big milestones for me are the chat feature. How do you make sure that you can have like a conversation, like a meaningful conversation, without being insulted on Sorare, to like make a deal. Counter offers were something, but like it's not that easy like to engage with counter offers. And with chats, you can always like find another solution that you didn't like expect just by sending counter offers. I mean, I'm really waiting to see what's going to be, what like the cash wallet is going to look like. I think it's going to change things dramatically, and there's so much room for trouble, and so I think we have to be very careful about like our expectations for the cash wallet. And I think they, I don't know when they actually expect to release that, but if I remember correctly, it's like during the summer or something, and I feel like it was so fast to actually like come up with a proper UX, proper UI. So I'm really like looking forward to like those changes, and especially and obviously gameplay. I think this iteration is like slowly becoming I don't want to say obsolete, but like old. um I'm not talking about like divisions like cap division and stuff like that, but I'm talking about the whole gameplay, the whole like having a leaderboard, you enter a division, and you go into a leaderboard, and that's it. And I'm really looking forward to see what's the next step in terms of gameplay, and I'm really focused on those things. But yeah, I mean, and what you said about like getting into a work rhythm is right, but you have to keep it. It's not how much you release at some point. It's like, can you be consistent, and can you keep doing that like every month, because like last week they just like released like three, like something every day basically. But it's not. Is it sustainable, and is it like the right way to actually release stuff? Do you want to do like fast releases, like a release a day, or do you want to do like maybe like a release a week or two releases a week, etc., to kind of manage expectations? And that's the problem that we have also, because at some point I was releasing stuff like so fast that wasn't like, that was pretty good features but wasn't like complete features also. That was a point. And also you have like, people have expectations that because you release fast you're going to release fast forever, and that's
Right.
that's not a good idea also.
I feel like any reasonable person would think that if you do release things very quickly, there will be a point where you slow down, just because sometimes there's just not as much to add, and you can just go back and start improving what you have. But we also know that most people are not reasonable, so they'll certainly just assume there's a new tool coming out every single week.
And
Speaking,
and
oh,
yeah, speaking of it, well, I don't know what transition you wanted to make, but I can show you something.
I will certainly take that. But I was going to say, for anyone who hasn't updated their mobile app yet, the links to both the Apple Store and the Play Store in the description of this video. So just do that, because it's just better than what you have if you haven't updated it. Simple as that. So what are you going to show
Yeah.
off?
Let me check.
It's my favorite times right now.
No, so they did something, like Sorare did something, like, I don't know, maybe 4 months back or something like that. Let me share my screen. Yes, I understand. And so I thought it was like amazing. It was like, you type words and it searches for you, right? But I found out this week that it wasn't actually that advanced. I didn't really like use it, but I thought like it lacked some features I wanted to have if we did that for SorareData. So I kind of like worked yesterday on that, and so obviously, like, I call it smart search, but it's pretty like, I don't know. I don't know what's the word, but in French it's like prétentieux. So if anyone has the translation in the chat, I would be very happy with that. So limited, you can also type rare also here, because probably you kind of want like limited and rare cards in the same screen. You can type midfielder, and you can type 2023. I don't have much, but that's it. And you can say Dallas, for example. Well, okay. So that's pretty much it. It's like, how can you type like fast searches, and like, for example, what's on sale here? Okay, so Paqueta is the only card on sale, so you type on sale. But if you type on sale, super rare, English Premier League, you will see a Paqueta. So it's like shortcuts, not having to click on everything. You can still use filters, obviously, but it's like a pretty easy way to search for stuff on the website is going to be on the gallery, also being tested for the market, auctions, and offers. And we want to go way further than that. Like, for example, like you have the on sale, but for example, at the Asia, I don't know, forwards, but forward. But I want to have like something that says, for example, L15 under, I don't know, 30 or under or over 40 or something like that. Also, like doing something for game week matchups and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just like a small iteration and a small start to actually like make sure people get used to it. And no, but so that's like it's very important. What I'm going to say is very important, and I need to follow this piece of advice I'm going to say. It's sometimes you're impressed by something and you're like, wow, it's amazing, and you're like, I probably can't do it myself, and just study the thing and you will see that's probably not that amazing first. And no, but that's true, like most of the time you see something, you're like, wow, it's amazing. I'm like, so just take a look at this. Is it, if it's still amazing, that's well, tough luck. But if it's not, like, make sure you're kind of like trying to find a way to actually do it. Because also, like, I was like, it has to be so complicated, they have to use stuff that we don't have and stuff like that, but it's actually pretty simple. It's like it's like actually pretty simple. It's just like converting like text to filters. It's pretty simple to do at the end of the day. And so yeah, I want to introduce more stuff with this way. But yeah, definitely something I'm excited for, because I think like with stuff like ChatGPT and stuff like that, we are not going to introduce like AI stuff, even if some people internally want to say that the lineup builder is doing AI. But no, what I want to say is like, I think like typing stuff is so much powerful than just like navigating through an interface. And you can have it both way. I mean, you can just click on filters and stuff like that. But if you just want like a quick search, you can just do it like that. And for example, I can just like copy paste and just like go on your gallery, for example, and just like it's pretty easy to do. And so we can have presets and stuff like that, and previous searches and stuff like that. And so you can do
Wait,
that
did you
on your
type that
gallery.
back in, or that stayed there?
No, I copy paste. Copy
Oh,
paste.
okay.
And so if you want to do a research like that on a gallery or in the market and stuff like that, we have to do that for the card finder also. But yeah, I mean, starting slow and see what we can do from there.
It's a classic example, and happens all the time with us when somebody's like, just like you said, it's actually not that complicated, and yet still very, very, very far away from anything any of us would be able to do.
Oh yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be able to write an article or do shows and stuff like that. So, I mean, everyone is good at something. But it's like, no, but it's like, really, I was like, it's so complicated. It's probably something I cannot do. And it's like, I was amazed at how actually simple it was. And sometimes it's just like, you just need like 5 or 10 minutes to actually like take a look at it, like think about it, and actually come up with a solution.
I'll definitely use that more, I think, than the filters. Just what you said, it's the ability to basically use multiple filters by typing 5 words in, and that is so fast too. Jeez, that's fun.
Could be faster though. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on yesterday. Yeah, and so hopefully we can release it like in beta or something like that tomorrow or this week.
That's fun. I'm excited for that. Um, what else did we do this week? Trying to think.
Yeah. So what we didn't mention is like on the mobile app, it's you can do your lineups there, obviously. So one thing I'm very happy about is the lineup builder on mobile. I think we did a great job on that, and I think like it looks good. You have all the information that you need. Now you can have suggestions directly there. And it's pretty I like when people come to me and say, I don't play Sorare, I play SorareData. And they're like trying to come up with a better lineup. I love seeing like people on social media doing like trying to do better than what our suggestion is. And I'm like, it's exactly what we expect. I mean, we don't expect to field the best lineup every time. We probably never do, but it's like, can we do better than what you would do? So yeah, that's pretty fun. But yeah, but now you can do like suggestions directly on your mobile for football lineups.
It is nice to be able to get effectively a completely unbiased opinion without having to bother someone else. Like there are plenty of people who are like, what would you do with these cards? And it requires somebody to like go in and build the lineup. And if it's, what would you do with these cards then? And just, it's like instantly like, that's what it is. What would you do with this lineup? And it's like, this is what we would do. And then you look at it and you're like, I don't want to do that either. And then you find out in 4 days that it would have been better than what you put together.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And by unbiased, I wouldn't say unbiased because we have like the algorithm has bias, obviously. But I mean, it's like most of the times you're picking players based on like irrational stuff, and that's what we're trying not to do, right? Like, oh, but I saw this guy play the last time, he was good, I think he's going to do it again. And well, yeah, probably, and you should follow your instincts at some extent. But well, the algorithm doesn't care about like if the player scored like 70 out of like 10 games where he averaged like 30. He's like, yeah, probably that was a good game, but probably not going to happen again. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a wake up call also if you're trying to do stuff. And I loved when Phil's our French ambassador tried to go against the lineup builder and was so confident about his game. It was like, I'm going to crush the lineup builder and stuff like that. And he lost 6-5, I think.
Yep.
Like 6 lineups with rewards against 5 for him. And like, I love how like people were like, but you're so bad. I would beat the lineup builder myself like every single game week. And I'm like, probably, but like there's also quite a chance that you can't beat the builder consistently because yeah, it's just looking at data and trying to make the most out of it.
Yeah, I think the most that I get out of it really is making me consider players that I may not have actually thought of using, or like in a specific lineup. And it was like, we all just have our inherent biases on certain cards. And sometimes those biases are completely unrelated to what is going to happen in the game. Like we are making lineups and the goal is to get somebody who is going to play well in that game week. And so like what you paid for the card has nothing to do with how they're going to play. And yet you're like, I paid a lot for that card, I should probably play it. And the lineup builder doesn't know that you paid. I mean, it knows, but it doesn't care what you paid for the card. Or I'm going to the game, so I'm going to put him in because I want to watch. And it's like that. That's not the best way to make lineups either. So
You're absolutely right. I played Kvaratskhelia too many times, like against the opinion of the lineup builder, and it did not work well for me. And I was like, no, but come on, he's one of the best players in the world. Well, I should be paying him, right? Oh, he's playing in Scotland. I mean, tough matchup, but I mean, he's good. So, and he missed a penalty during that game. I had a pretty fun game week. That game week, I had 2 players missing a penalty. I was like, hey, nice game week. when you go to see, oh, he BCM twice or something like that, and you see the penalty kick missed and
Yeah.
the BCM, it's
Yeah.
like it hurts, it hurts. But Jonathan is right. Also, I sometimes like when we do meetups and stuff like that, you play cards that actually you're going to see live, and you don't really care about like the reward that you would get.
How about this?
Uh,
Here's the idea: you get a 20% bonus if you're in
that
attendance.
would be fun. That would be fun. Like you would have like QR codes in the stadium, like or stuff that is not like scannable from out the outside world, and
Mhm.
or like NFC tag, for example. And you would like just get a bonus based on that. That would be fun. But maybe not on the current game, but the next game, because I don't like power being changed during a game. I don't like it.
It's changing every day. I bought 3 cards today. 2 cards? I bought 2 cards today in order to boost 2 of my players by 1% for this game week.
Well, good luck. Looks like a bad idea, but good luck.
It surely is a bad idea. But if I win, then it looks like a good idea. So
I wanted to ask you a question, like so bad is, and you have to answer the question. It's, are we out of the woods?
well, thankfully Andy Black is in the chat. He's more of the dip expert than I am, but so it's a loaded question because we talked about, like on this show, that that lister play stopped people from undercutting each other and making floors drop. And everybody was like, it's great, my value is going up. And it wasn't really going up, it was just not going down. But like everything, every other change on Sorare, like we just got used to it. And it does feel like we're not going to keep going down. But I think there is, and this is actually something that Pap actually said like a long time ago, that I think still actually applies, but slightly differently. That everybody always said that if you were on Sorare before they got the Premier League, the English Premier League license, then you were early. And once the Premier League came, everything would be great. And it didn't necessarily happen, but he made this comment that every card on the platform before they introduced the Premier League had some value in it of the expectation that it would be worth more when everybody who was interested in the Premier League would join the platform. So if a card was worth X, it's actually, or if it's worth 1, then it's 1 plus X, and the X was some inherent value of it will be more when the Premier League comes. The Premier League came, we had all these new cards, price didn't go up. And I think that there's still some of that though, because there's such an expectation that now that they, like, this will be the first like full season they have of the entire Premier League. And it's an opportunity for people who play FPL to start Sorare at the beginning of the season. And I think there is a big thought in the community that we are going to see an increase of users. And that's just stopping people from selling right now. And while that doesn't mean that everybody's buying and prices are going up, it does provide some stability that if we get this rush of people, then we go to the moon. I'm just kidding about the moon part, but I do think people are optimistic about Sorare moving into the Premier, into the new European season, because we'll have a full Premier League.
Yeah, I cannot disagree more with what you just said. But I mean, it's you are entitled to an opinion, and and I just disagree with it. No, I mean, I think like we're in full FOMO mode.
Hold on. Sorry, before you go, do you disagree with me thinking that people think that, or that people think that? Like, do you think that nobody is actually optimistic?
No. I think that the reasoning that Premier League is driving prices up, it doesn't make sense.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, why not? I
I don't
didn't
think
think
it's the
about.
cards themselves. I think it's the users it brings that drive prices up, or the expectation of the users.
So Jonathan brings up and ZM Star, sorry,
Yeah.
bring up the fiat wallet, and I would be again. It's like I said it earlier this show. I would be very cautious with the single idea of buying cards because the fiat wallet is going to happen. It's like, sure, it looks like a good idea, but wait until you see it. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. But it's like, how is it going to happen? And one thing I was thinking about today is, do we really need ETH anymore? And by saying that, I mean, I don't think like having like a fiat wallet and an ETH wallet coexisting is good for the game. And I think that would be a great time to actually say, ETH is dead. Thank you for everything. Let's go to dollars, euros, or whatever, and we say we use like dollars as the peg, as the like the reference money. And I think like the coexistence of like two wallets, fiat and ETH, is something that isn't like that we shouldn't have, and that is too complicated to actually like implement, and too complicated to like it's still complicated for like a normal human being. So you have to have like, if you have like the coexistence of like the fiat wallet and the ETH wallet, you have to be like very careful in terms of experience, and like in terms of like, do people understand what they're doing with the ETH wallet and the fiat wallet? And you have to make sure like the fact that those two wallets actually exist do not impact your experience in the game. Like, if like using the ETH wallet because I don't want to touch that thing that is fiat, um I should have the same experience than the person that is like using the fiat wallet. And if I want to, well, yeah, and like using both doesn't make sense to me. So I think you should have to choose either fiat or ETH, and that's it. So I mean, there's so many ways to actually get that wrong, and I'm not saying that because but I'm saying that because it's so complicated to make sure that coexistence is okay and is going well. So my point is, do not buy the cash wallet, the fiat wallet theory until you see it live and being widely used. That's my point. That I wouldn't buy a card based on the fact that I know that there is going to be a massive amount of users coming because of the fiat wallet. But one thing is sure, and I'm buying this theory, is that seasonality kicks in and it changes the mood of the community and it changes the mood of the market. It's like people are starting to buy more cards because they're like, hey, I mean, the season is starting in like less than a month and I need to get prepped, and oh, those cards look good and they're not that expensive because if you look at price charts, you're like, they're probably at the bottom of the chart right now. So it's pretty good opportunity if you want to like live like a full season with those cards, and that's probably the right time to actually buy those cards. Or probably the best time to buy those cards was like 2 months ago. But again, I think FOMO is kicking in. I think FOMO in full effect will be in July. But also like I feel like the auction rhythm is also slow, and that allows things to like happen also, and like the market to be like progressively going up. And I'm waiting to see what is going to happen with new season cards.
The expectation I have for the new season cards is that they're going to be absurdly expensive. I think the collection game and the amount of value they put on only owner will make people, I mean, we see it now with the auctions that are going on now, that people are I don't want to call it overpaying, because who am I to say you're paying too much? But it does seem like we are seeing auctions go for more than secondary. And if that's the case with new season cards, particularly at the beginning of the season where you get your 5% bonus and you have that last for, basically a calendar year, I think that's when we see prices go up. But I don't know if the secondary market will follow. And like, that's kind of the weird thing that we like continue to see, that people are paying more for auctions than what's available on the secondary market or what's the last sale was. And that, I think, is going to be a weird dynamic when the new season starts, because if we do get this rush of users who are like, oh, they have the fiat wallet now, I'll play. And they're like, well, why is the auction so much more than the next one? And like, that kind of, it's not confusion, but that immediate misunderstanding leads to a weird experience for new users. And that's something that I think they have to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think a good point. I'm not sure if so. Subsy is saying I thought we would be seeing more of a push towards new season, new players, new roadmap of what's coming by now. I think like also a valid point would be to say it's probably like for Champion Europe cards, it's probably the last opportunity that you're going to have to actually get those players on auction, and to get those like 20 points, like 20 collection points assured because you bought the card on auction. So I think that might be also why some prices are going up. But why I'm not also buying that theory is that most of the volume is on the secondary market and not on the auction, the primary market. So, I mean, not sure about that also. I think it's just FOMO and people wanting to like compete in the next season. And probably like if you've been playing in 2022, 2023, you're like, oh, those prices are pretty attractive based on the history of prices. And so it's probably the right time to buy cards. ZM started asking about the fire sale they are running today. I mean, we've been missing those events for quite some time. I think like the power hours were a pretty cool event to actually run. Probably had some problems with that, but like having like events where you can buy like cards like based on a single topic, or for example, I think it's a good thing to have. Also, they sent out a survey. I don't know if you were included in the survey, but I was, so I can tell you what's in it. And so they're like asking people if they're, so it's a 3-minute survey that is actually a 10 to 15-minute survey. I hate when people say, oh, it's going to be short, and it ends up being so long to actually complete. But anyway, they're asking like people, what do they think about like special edition cards, and should there be more special edition cards or less? And they're asking about like card customization, like allowing people to actually like customize cards based on like a variety of factors. And so you are asked to like give your opinion on that, and everyone is really happy to give their opinion. And so I gave mine, and I was really happy about that. But they at least like it's something that they're considering, and I think that's pretty cool to actually like. I would love to have a special card that is mine, and that the design reflects what I want the card to look like, by adding some particular stuff that makes it unique.
To sell it or to keep it?
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point. Do you alter the card like definitively, or do you like alter it like to show it in your collection? And I think that um that's a very difficult point to actually solve. And but like for example, like I would love to have something that makes possible like I go to a stadium, I see Denis Bouanga, he scored 3 goals, he signs my card, and I have a special edition of his card. And I think that all those things add also to the fan engagement, and like crazy stories that you can tell, that you can watch. Also, I think that would open a totally new series of videos for John Ellis also. So, I mean, there are so many things that you can do, and that would be very interesting to do.
Do you think that there is a desire to have those cards that are separate from the regular mints? Like effectively have like
No,
utility collectibles like that?
no, I don't think that's a good idea. But I think that overall you want your cards to be more valuable, and you don't want to print like different cards to make them more valuable. Well, make like no, I think that you should be able to like customize your limited card, and still play it in SO5. At the end of the day, it's like, how do you make sure that people are proud of their galleries and like are bragging about it, and like talking about it to their friends and on social media and stuff like that? Like, I mean, I would love like to have my picture with Denis Bouanga when he wins the MVP title of the MLS, and and with my Sorare card next to him. So that would be great. I mean, that would be amazing.
That would be fun. You're right. I do. How many people? You're probably a bad example, but like, I don't think most people want to buy a card of Dennis Bouanga with someone else in it.
No, I meant like having a picture of me and that is separate from the card, but like showing the card to him and like posing with it and like having him sign the card. That would be, and it's like you do that with gloves, balls, caps, hats, like stuff like that already in the physical market. There's no, um, I don't think that we should not have that because they are digital assets. I think you should have like a dedicated process for that, obviously, but I mean that it should be things that that like improves your experience.
Yeah. So that reminded me when I realized that the more I play Sorare, the less I am interested in physical collectibles.
Mm.
And it fundamentally comes from the idea, and maybe this is just somebody who I'm old at this point. Like I have a family and I have a house with a lot of stuff in it. And I look at a lot of physical collectibles as just something that I would have. Like it would sit here and just like collect dust, and like it doesn't do anything for me. And obviously I really like Sorare cards, but I don't know how many I actually own that I own to own as opposed to own to play in the game. However, when I met Julio Rodriguez last week, I was fortunate enough to get a picture with him. And like that was really cool to me. I love photos. And I talked to my daughter the day after, and she was like, "Did you get his autograph?" And I was like, "I didn't even think about it." Like, and it wasn't like, I don't know if it was like an appropriate situation. I literally did not even think about it until she brought it up. And I was like, no. And I easily could have like shown up with 2 Julio Rodriguez physical cards and had him sign them. And the thought just like didn't cross my mind at all. And I think ironically, Sorare is the reason I didn't think of it. To be honest, I don't even own a Julio Rodriguez Sorare card either. But it was just like, it made me totally think differently of it. And now that's how I think now of like, I do like the idea of like acquiring unique digital items like that. Not enough to actually buy non-Sorare NFTs yet, but I like the idea of doing it with a Sorare card.
Yeah, but to me, people acquiring it should be acquiring it from people that did the work. Like that, I would love to see like people like buying cards to make them unique by like going to stadiums and stuff like that, like going after players like in a civil and polite way, of course, but do not shade them to their houses or stuff like that. But like that would be fun because like I don't know how it actually work in the collectible market, but I've seen stuff like I've watched Pawn Stars. That's the name of the show where they sell stuff in Vegas, like
Yes.
collectible stuff and stuff like that. So there's a real value behind like autograph stuff, and we should have that for Sorare, and that would be amazing. I mean, I'm just providing content for journalists at this point, but yeah, give that to us.
Yeah, David said, imagine a world where a player can sign your digital asset. Like, I have one. Where is this card? Let me pull it up here. I was fortunate enough somebody gave this card to me, and I don't know why. I still don't know like why they actually gave it to me, but I have this Tony Watt autograph card, and the idea is cool. Like, I've never met Tony, never went to a game. I live nowhere near him, but I have this autograph, and I think the autograph cards are cool. Like the MLS ones just came out. The cards themselves are really cool. Um, but I don't know. Like I have it. It's fun.
And to me, the next step of that is actually uh like making sure um that you get like special edition cards, but like not action poses and stuff like that. But it's like, you know, I don't know if you're going to find that there, sadly, or probably, but it's going to take quite some time, I think. Yeah,
That's
but
okay.
it's like no, that's very
I
very
know
slow.
that's very slow
But
for you.
no, but I mean, like, how do you make sure that like you get those like normal editions mugshot cards that are early in the season, but you get also like special edition cards based on like an achievement and stuff like that, like and not just a special design for the card, right? Like having something different. Like I want to see Dennis Bwanga with his MVP trophy like that, smiling at the camera, right? And they did that once with like the midfielder that played in the goalkeeper position. Like I don't know his name again, but it's
Enzo
like
Perez. Yep.
we want to see way more of those cards. So someone asked if the MLS was actually like the league with most player edition cards, and I think it is.
Surely.
Did they like send out an email saying, "Oh, you should get your card because it's probably going to be worth some money, so go get it."
My favorite are the ones people like some of the players tweeted it out and they were like, this is so cool. And then they immediately put them on the market. And it was like,
Yeah, because it's
okay.
cool because it's going to get them some money.
Right. Here's the
I mean, I don't think the MLS salaries are that high, to be honest. So, I mean, whatever you can get. Enzo Perez, right?
I want this card so badly. Maybe Sorare FC will sell it to me. Have you heard the question? And I think Dan confirmed that they were thinking of doing it, of having some sort of special weekly where they reward all of the cards that were swapped that are now in the Sorare gallery, I guess. What do you think about that?
So, what would they do with the cards in the gallery?
They would have a special weekly, and the
Okay,
rewards would be from the Sorare
that's
account.
fun. That's fun. That's fun.
Yeah,
But
that's what I want. And I want to participate and only win this Enzo card. There's a Vandevort super rare, and I would rather this Enzo Perez.
I think people would complain about the price pool and like the order of distribution in the price pool.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But
But at least you
theoretically,
know.
most of the cards are cards nobody wanted.
So something I wanted to say about like rewards, and I think that the system is still broken, but I'm not going to say more about that. But one thing that they could do to unbreak it is actually like provide. So let's say I'm ending fifth in All Star Rare, for example. just tell me the percentage like chances for the prize pool. If I see that Mbappe is like 0%, I'm going to be like, okay, I have no chance of getting an Mbappe, right? If I see that the player I'm actually getting is like 15% chance, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. If I see that I had tough luck and got a guy that was 1% and it was very bad to get, well, tough luck, but I know that I had tough luck. The problem with this process is that it's so unclear that you get your hopes up for no reason, and you get your hopes, and that's why it's so frustrating, because you feel like you could get that one, but if it's like a 0.5% chance of getting it, you're like, you can't be mad at the game, right? It's like,
Yeah.
to me it feels so easy. Well, it's not, probably not that easy to do, but it feels so like a quick win and a good win, that they should do that immediately, Andrew. And I think like also one thing worth mentioning is that the prize pools change until the last second. When they close the game week, they change the prize pool, and I think that's so wrong for many reasons. But admit that they do that. The only thing I would do is remove players, but not like change the order, right? I wouldn't like adapt my tiers. Like if a card was T1, but because we remove some T0s out of the pool, and that card should be T0, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But probably you have supply problems at that point, so it's not that easy. But I mean, you don't have like 10 people, like 15 players getting like
Right.
6 months injury in just one game week, right? So I think that you shouldn't change like a card from tiers, like after like Friday 2 p.m. UTC, and just provide like some odds for people like to know what they're actually able to get.
I think it's gotten to the point where they have replied to people's messages enough on like Twitter and Discord where they actually need to make some sort of announcement on how it works, because I was under the impression, and I was corrected on this, that the order that the players are listed in the tier was how they will be rewarded.
It is. It
It's
is.
not.
Well, it is. No, I think they're well. No, I won't say they're lying when they say that. I think that what they say is that it changes until the last minute. What Paul was saying on the tweet that it was sent to Haber or something like that.
Paper,
It
yeah.
was basically it changed, but it was displayed sometime after that. And so he was not implying that the order wasn't correct. He was implying that the order was changing most of the time, right? Because if the order wasn't correct, why would Mbappe be first? Why would Kimmich be below Mbappe? And why would it make sense? I mean, the order makes sense. It's not that the order it does not exist. The order exists, but it changes like until the last minute. So that makes sense to say that you shouldn't um, give importance to the order before the game week starts, because it's going to change. But there's one order, and it exists, because
Yeah,
otherwise they wouldn't be able to distribute rewards based on like an order.
it was my understanding, maybe I didn't hear everything, but I thought that he looked at the list at the end of the game week, like theoretically on the last draft of the list, and it still was out of order, meaning they were distributed differently than the list that they showed at the end.
But I mean, it's just their internal process, and at the end of the day, I don't really care about like what they're showing on the website. I mean, well, I care, but we want,
that's where you have to show it, though.
No, but we want it to be fair, right? Like you want like this distribution to be fair. I don't care if and based on the criteria that they have, right? You want the distribution to be fair. If it's shown like 3 hours late, I don't really care. But the problem is, there should be so many like more explanations about the way they do stuff. It would clear up like so many questions, right? Like instead of having like I have so much admiration for people like Paul, like facing like shitstorms on social media and stuff like that. It would be so much easier for them to say everything is explained there, and all the questions that you're asking right now have been already answered there, and that says like, and it tells exactly how the selection process for rewards work. And if they do not want to show percentages for some reason, they should at least explain what is the process. When you play the lottery, the process is pretty clear, and you know it's going to happen a certain way. It's exactly the same thing. You're basically running a lottery for like distributing rewards. At least explain to the people what the process is and how it works.
The only reason why I'm laughing is because I can already see the tweets of people who won some, who finished in a certain spot, and they're going to be screenshots to show I had an 80% chance to win this card, but I got the one that got 2%, and it's wrong. And it's like, well,
it's not wrong. You cannot complain about something that is. Well, people do. I mean, it's just bad luck, and even if you have bad luck, like 3, 4, 5 times in a row, it's just bad luck, and that's it. And I don't know if it's the perfect solution, but I was like, when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I would be less mad about something if I understood what the odds were before. But because like you finish second, and for example in Sorare Pro, I've seen like rewards that were terrible, like against some potential rewards, right? So yeah, Jonathan, you're right. People love to complain, especially in France. It's a sport. It's a sport in France, so I don't blame. Like it's perfectly correct. But you want to be able to answer those questions like with facts that have been like laid out in advance, and not like having someone to say, oh well, what happened here is that it changed, so there was a display bug, or not a display bug but a display lag. It's just not right, because there's some at some point there was so much money at stake. And it's like it's sometimes like in super rare divisions and unique divisions, these are cards worth like 10K or something like that, and just something different is like a 2K 3K variation. And it's not it's normal that people ask what's happening.
Yep.
I would just like finish on that question, because I think it's a good question. That movie is saying, Laird, did you use the lineup builder to pick your rare 240 from the weekend? Congrats on your win, Andrew, by the way. And fantastic lineup, squeezing so much quality into the cap. Sorry if you answered that this already. So did you use the lineup builder?
Nope.
So you actually used it, but you didn't use suggestion, right?
Oh, yes. Of course I use the lineup builder. I can't possibly do anything without the lineup builder. But no, I did not use the suggested lineup. Because
was it close or something?
The suggested lineup?
Yeah.
No.
What can you show the lineup, and can you show the suggestion?
Sure. I actually don't think I even, let me see. Here we go. So I had to go back, obviously. So what was it?
So that was like 383, yeah.
So the lineup, this was the lineup: Bendick, Grant, Reynoso, Cecina, and Gald, which, and then I'll do a new, I don't know if this actually takes into account everything right now.
Yeah, it does.
Well, I don't know if it was previous, but literally all 5 players are different.
Yeah, it's definitely not the same lineup. And like, can we land on it like somehow?
No, I don't think the cost saves because Bendix
Oh
cost is
yeah,
39 now, but it might have been
correct,
0.
correct.
And so
No, it was 36 or something like that. But no, I think the cost saves actually. Oh
no,
no,
30.
it shows minus 53 now.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the cost doesn't save.
Yeah.
Okay, so we cannot
I
rerun the
can't go back and
protection.
check now.
Yeah.
But the answer is no, I didn't use the suggestion. And
But the pick scores are the right one. So Bendik was AAA, so it was probably the suggestion.
yeah, and the other ones, they show up, and I'll be honest, this is one of the things that I don't like that much about the pick scores for capped is
Yeah.
that they don't adjust based on the capped space that you have left.
Yep.
And so like Cecilia has a terrible cost efficiency, as does Grant. I mean, all of them do.
Yeah.
And the problem is that when I have a goalkeeper who's a 0, then the cost efficiency doesn't matter. And so
yeah, but you could say you start with Bendik and then you complete your lineup. But yeah, I get the point.
Yep. But so yeah, that's what I did.
Because I think if you start with Bendik and it's a 0, like I think the algorithm is still trying to fit the more
Probably.
like to go to 240. So, but yeah, I mean that was my whole point to start with. I mean, we do not suggest the optimal lineup, and if we did, the game would be dead already, and that would be a bad thing. But
I should also
yeah,
add that the Cap 240 team, I think, was my third or fourth team that I made. Like I didn't prioritize it at all. And so there were cards that I could have used that were in All-Star and All-Star Rare Pro, and I think America Rare Pro, that may have been better choices for the Cap 240. And honestly, I just got very lucky. Simple as that. But
yeah, to win something, you have to be lucky. Yeah, I've seen like some of the show that you did with Chani and Nipenzed. And thanks to them for like participating to our shows, by the way. But yeah, I mean, you cannot plan to win a division. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're thinking like, I have a shot to win this. You're going to end up like not even paid.
Ben was asking if I owned Bendik or if I bought just for this. I've owned that card for 2 years because I bought it for the Gold Cup 2 years ago when Andre Blake was gone and I knew Joe Bendik would start. And now 2 years later, I'm not even sure. You know, it's great. I haven't won a single reward with that card. Not one.
Until now. So so we're waiting on that card, on that reward, right? It's going to be open tonight.
Yes. So the other fun thing about this lineup is that this is the third time I've ever won a division. I won All-Star Rare and Champion America Rare Pro 2 years ago, and I have not won one since then. But this Emmanuel Reynoso card has been in all 3 lineups.
Wow. He's a winner. And yeah, I mean, so can we check the Cap 240 price pool just you know, history?
I told Sean that I hate doing it because
but Sean is not your boss, so I mean, you can go and not look at it, and I'm just going to be like reacting to it. So
which
no,
one do you
let's
want to
start
look
with
at?
the Superior. Let's start with the Superior. So tier 3, pretty good. I mean, you don't know where it starts in the pool, right?
Well, it's Cap 240, so I'll go all the way to the bottom, and I'll win this.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree that like it seems like for Cap 240, it begins way lower in the pool.
I finished second in Cap 240 Super Rare once, and there were 119 cards in Tier 2, and I won the last card.
No, I mean that's a pretty fair assessment, and I think like for the rare tier T0, it's pretty much the same thing. I
How the
would
hell
get
is
that.
Bobby Wood at tier 3?
I would
Sorry.
get that Christian Eriksen tier 3. I mean, that
That would
would
be
be good.
fun.
Lookman also. I won Lookman in I think in tier 3. He had like a pretty bad end of the season, but I think that a 25-year-old Serie A starter forward is always a good card to have. I would love to have it as a tier 3 super rare, to be honest. Oh, the Ketelera, that would be amazing.
Have you seen his scores at Milan?
Yeah, I don't care. I mean, he's like 21 or something.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, and so let's take a look at rare star. So, who said that? Joe Ducey said it's absolutely loaded. There is not a single bad card in it. So first, let's take a look at the chances of winning a goalkeeper, right?
Let's see. We have 1, 2,
2, 3. Oh, but Verbruggen 4,
3.
5. What? No, 5.
4? Is it 5?
Bigelow, Donnarumma,
Oh,
Verbruggen,
Mignon. Yep.
Maignan, and Courtois. So that's 5.
Yeah.
So that's pretty decent. It's like you have more chances to win to not win a goalkeeper than to win one. But
Yeah,
I
there
would
are
get that
8
Verbruggen.
Mignons left, apparently.
So yeah, I mean, probably the worst card is Bigelow. Maybe Kane is the worst card, but other than that, I mean,
You know what's really,
I
really
wouldn't
interesting
like
about this?
Messi. I wouldn't like Messi.
I already have Messi, but
Oh, you see, Joe Ducey saying Bigelow wasn't there when I looked, and I mean, it changes.
yeah. So Sean actually pointed this out to me that there are 0 America and Asia cards in here, or
That's
certainly
good.
no Asia, and Messi's the only America one.
Yeah, but it's not considered as America yet.
No. So yeah.
I mean, Kane is doing so little AA, but he's
I
scoring so much, right? But yeah, Kane at Bayern would be a great card. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would sell that card literally in 1 second.
Oh yeah,
I absolutely can't stand Harry Kane. How much is he going for
so
now?
yeah, can you give me like a 50% boss discount?
You don't want Harry Kane, trust me. Nobody wants it.
I mean, 74 last 5 and 70 last 15 looks like, but it's not scoring. It's scoring like 60 to 70, 70 to 80 sometimes, but never, like almost never above 90.
Yeah. Yeah, he has,
But
let's see. In
but
his
at
last
Bayern,
40,
I mean,
yeah, he has 2 scores over 90.
I mean at Bayern, that's oh, we could do a season long loan, and I give you like 20% of the rewards, right?
Yeah, that's perfect. You playing with Kvara?
Yeah, Kvara and Antoine Griezmann.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you to everybody for joining us. If you haven't liked the video yet, please do so. Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, all that good stuff. I will be back tomorrow, limited time only, talking about Champion Europe, actually. We're going to talk about how much it costs to play Champion Europe Limited and all that good stuff. Clement, perfect timing as we say goodbye. So yeah, that will happen. And then Sorare Andrews on Thursday, off topic on Friday. So thank you everybody for joining us, and good luck this week.